Well, the countdown has begun. And some of you don't like to hear these words, but I assure you, whatever I tell you on my channel is always empowering. It's always positive. It's always the message that no matter what happens out there with a collective, you still have an individual choice to do whatever you want with your life and to see the world whatever way you want to. Nobody makes you do that. If you see another negatively, that's your choice. So is it time for us to start to support one another? Because we're on the countdown right now. What does the countdown mean? Well, there are others involved in the final decisions of our planet. It will expire at some point, not in our lifetime, fortunately, but how's it going to play out while you're here? That's the important part. So I want to share with you what is going to transpire in the next 2 years that you do have control over. Are you ready for this? Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. Did you see the podcast with Nicole, who sees orbs, who really sees orbs, who when she lost her little puppy, a puppy orb came to her. She had several pictures she shared with me. This is not making this stuff up. But so many people, they just don't want to believe. They're in a world that's very limited, and you can live in that world. You have that choice. I hope that you'll subscribe because I have many, many messages of empowerment for you. Now, let's talk about the world we're going into right now, because we're actually creating it, and we don't want to believe that. We think it's just happening to us, and we think that the collective is going to make that choice, but it doesn't, because your contribution changes everything. If you shift one little grain of sand, the whole beach shifts. You don't see it, but it does. And so when the butterfly flaps its wings, that's real stuff. Now, why is it? Because we are all connected. We are one. But what's going to happen these next 2 years? It's already happening. So people are saying, I'm so tired of waiting for the event. Well, you don't have to. We're in it. If you don't think we are, and you're still in denial of the changes that are taking place, if you still blame others in the government and you're taking sides, then you're going to live in the world that has been destroying humanity. And I don't mean just the planet. I mean humanity. What does that mean? That means that you and I, when we turn on each other, when we don't see the light in one another, when we're not coming together to create something amazing, we are creating destruction and conflict. That's the world you're choosing, and you will actually experience that world. That's how it works. So we have 2 years. Why do we have 2 years? There's going to be an awakening. There's going to be a knowledge that's introduced. This has been predicted by various people, including Chris Bledsoe, who's gotten some pretty darn accurate information. And he gets that from a higher source that has our best interests in mind. What do they care about us? The higher beings, the orbs, the whatever they are, the UAPs, the aliens, you name it. It exists. Everything exists. Why do they care? It affects them because they are much more knowledgeable than we are in our form. You as the light being, you have this information. You can actually access it now. I'm actually teaching that. Those of you who are in landria.com free inspiration, I have a new series that teaches you how to access the intelligent quantum field. It's always acting on your beliefs and your thoughts. So if you are in distrust or blame or judgment, is one of the worst ones, then you are in a low frequency and you won't know the difference. You won't know what's happening out there that is amazing and beautiful. If you raise your frequency, then you experience that. It's dialing in to a station. That's it. What are you dialed into? If you're in fear, you're dialed into fear. Therefore, you experience it because you chose it. You say, no, I didn't. Well, then how can two people experience the exact same thing, and one experiences, in awakening and joy, another experiences fear? It's a choice. It's a story in your head. That's actually the first lesson in the series that I supply with, the Free Inspiration series. Why the 2 years? Because the planet can no longer tolerate, nor will it tolerate the abuse. We are past the tipping point, and it affects way too many other beings who are not going to stand back and let the little babies fight and blow each other up. That's really what it's boiling down to. So if the majority of people choose to do that, they can affect that kind of conflict. That's not going to be allowed. There are others that will step in. Now, what happens when they step in? They are not going to be participating in anything on the lower frequency. So if you're there, you won't even know that this has happened. We are seeing orbs. We are seeing drones up there. That is our government. Nobody knows why they're up there, but they've been so tight-lipped. Obviously, they're not concerned about it because they know it's them. But what they are concerned about is that they can't seem to control these unseen and seen entities that transition into drones and UAPs and then beings. Then there are a human walking out of an orb, and these things have been filmed. They have been photographed. There are people who can demonstrate. If you saw my video, I showed a lot of pictures and videos of what Nicole photographed and filmed. And this is consistent with her. Why her? Why Chris Bledsoe? Why our most recent supposed whistleblower, Jake? He's not really a whistleblower. He's just going into a space of communication with this other side. If you do not go there and you're in fear and you think that this is something evil or whatever story you tell yourself, you will participate in the old world. There's a new earth happening right now. That's what this means. And they say people will disappear. And, this person will be in the field and they'll be gone. I don't know what that exactly means, but I do know one thing. That means they will no longer function in a low frequency, because if they did, they would have to go through the suffering and abuse and the conflict that others are choosing. And if they don't choose it and they go into an enlightened state, they will actually become light beings that may not be visible to others. That's just one thought. You don't have to believe any of this stuff. I'm just saying what's coming into my head, that is one possibility. Why? Why do I say that? Because there are beings in the room right now that I can't see. That means they're just on a high frequency. That's all. Nothing scary. So if we go to a high frequency, it's possible that we may not be seen. This is how UAPs show up and they disappear. They're just shifting into another frequency. They may still be there. They may be off in another dimension. It's way beyond our comprehension. These are the powers that you can tap into, and you can start doing it right now, and it's a lot of fun. And it's wonderful, and it's helpful to other people. We can create things, food and abundance and healings, and all kinds of things come from that space because there's no stories of negativity in that space. Now, if you choose another space, you're in another room in the mansion. That's it. That's how it works. And you'll say, this is how things are. See, this is happening. And the answer, the universe says yes. Now, those who have participated in our existence on some level, I don't have those answers. Nobody does. Have a great interest in us because they've allowed this to go on through the choice of free will that we chose. And so the bottom line is, if we go in a direction that there's no coming back from, then there's not much they can do. They are not going to allow that to happen. Now, you can talk about people like Trump and what is he doing, and we have people that say, oh, he's the peacemaker, and others that say, oh my gosh, he's going to affect our next conflict on the planet. Well, that will be something that we will get to find out. Now, here's what I want to share with you. I saw a story that was pretty crazy. A woman got kidnapped and abused for 2 weeks, and she was returned. She's living in Trinidad, got kidnapped from her family. They wanted a ransom. They didn't have money. So for 2 weeks, she got absolutely, utterly tortured and had a near-death experience. And she did come back. She doesn't understand why this horrible thing happened to her. But something profound did happen. Maybe this is why it happened. One of the people that tortured her, saw this, is it St. Christopher, some kind of religious icon around her neck. And she was praying to Jesus the whole time. And he heard her. And he asked who she was talking to. And she explained. He didn't actually really know who Jesus was. And she's like, seriously? And so she explained. He said, would he forgive me? And she says, yes, there may be consequences. But yes, everyone is forgiven. And so he actually went down on his knees and cried and asked for her forgiveness. Now, what happened prior to that is he was the biggest, meanest mother you'd ever want to come into contact with. She was praying and had gone to the other side and asked for some kind of reprieve. She asked for assistance. And the next day is when he walked in like a completely different person. You can affect great change. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that she tapped into that space of communication that I'm teaching my students now. This is free, by the way. You guys can come over. Go down the description. There's one for digital explorers, creating planet conscious businesses online, and one for free inspiration, where I'm teaching you how to communicate with these realms that exist. They're just there. It's just a room in the mansion. You just have to go in there, and it's loaded with gifts and jewels. But we don't go there. We're in the basement with the stinky mold. And the rats. Nothing wrong with rats. They're actually quite intelligent. And that's how it works. So if we go up into the room with jewels, then we're accessing jewels. And so that's where she went. She went into this space where she accessed this power that kicked in for her. It wasn't like, oh, I'll decide. Okay, you're good enough. I'll make this. No, nor did it interfere with his free will. Something came over him, and he made the choice to not be, so destructive with her. In fact, he tried to help her get away, and she didn't, because she knew if she did, they were going to kill him. And so she ended up staying, and eventually he let her go. Now, the question is that what kind of power do you wield? You have to, right now, give up the ego, the protecting your beliefs, the judgment of others that you know absolutely nothing about. None of us knows another. Somebody said, there's some red flags with Nikki, she didn't take responsibility for that car accident. Oh my gosh, well, because somebody hit her. She didn't do anything. So why is that necessary? Why is it necessary for us to judge other people when we have no real information? And even if we did, why do we need to go into that space? That is the ego that sees the world in such a negative space, and that has to go. And if you don't let that go, there's a countdown, a big one, and you won't even know it happened. And when we go down to 1, and kaboom, the kaboom's going to happen for people who lived in a destructive world, and everybody else, and it's a very small percentage because it's tough. It's a challenge to get past the ego. The small percentage of people that choose to go into light, that know there's another way of life, and that they're choosing it in here, and their actions, despite the challenge. So this girl, this woman who got kidnapped, she chose forgiveness in the worst of circumstances. You talk about a test, and this is our test. All of us, we're all being tested. Not like, okay, let's throw some really bad stuff at you and see how you do. No, it's that we came here choosing to be challenged. We chose the challenge, and we are choosing to participate in it. What you do with it is your choice. No one else is inflicting anything on you. So you've got about 2 years here to get your act together, I can say that. And so this is your spiritual butt kick today, because it's going to go quickly, and you're going to realize there are things happening that you never expected. I'm having more dreams of a future. One of it involves water, which is not great for me. I'm here in Florida, but hey, whatever happens, happens. But my message to you is I'm getting some very clear dreams that of rescues and triumph, and also some great cataclysmic, let's just say global events. Cataclysmic meaning people living in a state that they don't have to, and that there will be some things that happen on our planet that are beyond our control. They really aren't, but they seem to be out of our control because they're part of the evolution, the response to what we have been doing all this time. No coincidence. And you're going to see people that are just going to go into a dark side of depression and sadness and feeling disempowered. And then there's a whole group of people that will stand up. I had a dream where I was, oh my gosh, saving these little bears. And I grabbed onto this little bear that was drowning in some guy's truck, and I pulled him out. And he, I was holding this little bear cub who had a collar on. This guy was trying to get it back, and I wouldn't give it to him. He was trying to grab it, and I hung on to that collar. I said, "You are not getting this little bear." And I had a friend call animal rescue to come help us. I thought, how profound. And I had another dream that was similar. I actually was putting a crown on, and there was destruction around me and other people that were going out of the position of royalty. And I was stepping in, not feeling real good about it, to be honest with you. It's not something I really wanted. But it wasn't this amazing space to go into. There was a lot of destruction around me. And this is a theme that I'm having. And you guys know that when I tell you this stuff, this is not some weird dream. I didn't watch anything on TV like this. I didn't see anything that prompted this. And I realized that there will be some of us in the worst of times that will step up, that will save the baby bear and not let go, and put the crown on even though there's not much of a kingdom to take over, and that it's not a nice job, and that we're going to do it anyways. And in the dream, I was actually helping the person that was going out of that position and helping them to, take things with them and make their life as comfortable as possible. And that's what it's going to take. You're going to step into glory, and it's not going to be an easy position to be in. You're going to step into situations where you have to be the savior, so to speak. The savior, the second coming of Christ is not a person. It's an event. It's a spiritual event. That's what Edgar Cayce says. That's what I believe. You don't have to believe that. Whether if you think it's another actual Christ coming down, that's cool. But we all have the sense that something beautiful is coming, and it's a choice. All right. So the choice is, I can be the person that steps up to the plate, the transformation of this planet, and it won't be easy. But what's the alternative? Is to live in fear. This whole channel is breakthrough fear. How many years have I been saying this? I was just saying breaking through fear isn't that popular. Awakening's not that popular. I'm not getting 2 million, subscribers because I'm giving you some kind of conspiracy, but I'm going to stick to my guns on this. And you got 2 years because some big things are going to happen, and it's going to affect everybody, and they're going to realize that our world is not what we thought it was. And all of a sudden, the veils are going to come off, and we're going to realize everything we thought, they were lies. They were ego and control, and they were others who do know that power that want to convince us that we should stay in fear. And if you're in fear and you're believing all this stuff, reptilians are evil and all this other, nothing has power over you. How can it? You are of source. You have equal power to everything, and your role is yours that you chose, and you can play it out any way you choose. And there's a new world, a new earth kicking in. You can participate in it. And if you choose to do this now, you will change every single event from this moment forward. And we do not have to go into anything that is going to take this planet to a place we don't want to go. All right? When you pray for peace and forgive those who have done the worst things to you and to others, that is when they have the ability to transform, like that gentleman in the story that I saw. It was a true story. Down on his knees crying and asking for forgiveness for doing the most horrific things. And the bottom line was, and I'm sure you know this too, and you may be one of these people, these things don't stand alone. I always ask my students who are in great distress, what were your parents like, and what were their parents like? It didn't just start. People project what they experience, and if they have been abused, they will project fear and anger, and then you will, and they will, and they will. We have to stop and go into compassion and know that they are only giving what they've known and projecting the low frequency ego that doesn't understand why any of this is happening. And that's the state of unconsciousness. When you go into consciousness, you realize you probably won't understand it, but you know that it has actual meaning. There is a reason for all of it. You don't have to understand it, but you've got, the countdown here is, don't wait. Don't wait. Everything in your life you have to change. I was sharing with my students in Digital Explorers today. I said, you know, maybe I'm just telling you which shampoos to purchase that are non-toxic, that don't harm animals, that don't come in plastic. And if that person purchases that, and another and another and another, then we are changing the planet. And that's how it works. And so if you guys go into my description, everything that I supply is to give you choices for what you purchase, what you consume, how you think. You know, anything you want to change, I'll give you the tools to do it. You want to create an online business? Come on over, Digital Explorers. We're creating planet conscious businesses. It's not easy. But what's the alternative? You want to go to hell in a handbasket? That's okay if you want to. It doesn't sound like a fun trip to me. All right, so the countdown is for everyone. Nobody escapes this. You can't get out of it. So if you think you're just going to skate by, you will actually stay in that lower frequency that decided not to choose. It's still a choice. And so what is that choice? To not contribute to the evolution and the awakening that is what we are meant to experience at this point in time. And your prayers and your thoughts of compassion can put somebody down to their knees by their choice, because you're doing it in love. That's all you have to do, my friend. There's a room full of jewels and anything you've ever wanted in a penthouse. And that's not what we're going for, but it exists there because we no longer need it to be happy. It's just part of the abundance of the universe that's unlimited for you. So if you want to come over, I'm teaching you how to access that universal intelligence. My site is for spiritual seekers who want to learn how to communicate with that. We're learning how to. We're going to see more orbs, UAPs, more stories of light beings and things we don't understand. And some of you will go into fear, and some of you will celebrate it and say, there's nothing to fear, because you're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Get ready. Nikki and I are going to do some really cool stuff. We're going to start calling in orbs and filming them. So I'll share that with you. If you're in my list, my email list, you'll get access to all of that really cool stuff. I'll see you there. Namaste.